I'm here right now with my good buddy Steve Monaghan. Steve is formerly our pastoral associate here at Our Lady of Good Counsel. In a particular way, Steve's entrusted with the task of helping couples that come into our doors who want to get married walk through the engagement process. Steve, good to have you with us.
Nice to be here, Father.
You know, I thought one of the things that we could talk about for folks who are going through the marriage prep process or who are going to be calling us is actually two things. One, we have them go through an awful lot, don't we?
We certainly do.
So I thought it would just be worth giving an explanation as to why we do that, and then two, what exactly we do. So I've always found a real helpful analogy to be this. In the church, 7 sacraments, 3 of initiation, 2 of healing, 2 of service, marriage, and priesthood.
Right, holy orders.
First thing that's supposed to get people's attention, marriage is a sacrament of service. So if you were to ask me, hey, Padre, why'd you want to be a priest? And I said, well, I thought I'd get a lot out of it. Hopefully you'd be disappointed in that answer. It's something a little nobler, like, you want to pour your life out for God, service people.
It's commitment.
Something like that, And yet, in one way or another, what we often hear from couples, like, why do you want to get married? Well, she completes me. I mean, I get that. I've been in love. I understand that. But that's really not the purpose. So, having said that marriage and priesthood are these 2 sacraments of service, the preparation for one should look something like the preparation for the other.
Or even other sacraments as well.
Exactly,
As far as
or other
commitment
sacraments
to it,
as well.
right.
And yet it usually doesn't look that way at all, right? So in my own life anyway, so I went to seminary when I was 25. You were in seminary too. You were a Protestant minister beforehand. So come at this from a lot of different perspectives. So I'm 25, I had a college degree. On my end anyway, I was clear that God was calling me to priesthood, which is a lot like you proposing to Audrey. Nice, but she's got to still say yes.
That's right.
So before she said yes, the church being the she here, I had to go to 3 different places for school. I had to study for 5.5 years. I had to learn 3 languages. I got 3 more degrees. I had my life ripped to shreds by people who kept repeatedly telling me, you do this, you do this, you do this. It's all annoying.
Or it's not for you.
Yeah, or it's not for you. And after that, then I could get ordained. And we're going to ask a married couple, or rather a couple that wants to get married in the church, to come in and go on a weekend?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding, right?
It's counterintuitive.
Because between your vocation as a married man and my vocation as a priest, given the fact that both of us do a lot of marriage counseling, yours is far harder. Right? Because if for no other reason than in your relationship there's 2 selfish people, and in mine there's only one. And when there's a problem, it's pretty obvious it's with me.
And who you get to turn to.
So that's why we do what we do. I mean, I think that's really helpful for people to understand and important for people to understand. Like, we don't want our marriage prep to be burdensome for couples. We don't want it to be a hoop they jump through. I know from your perspective and from mine, we just want couples to thrive.
Oh, absolutely. They're the future of our church.
Absolutely. Not to survive, to thrive, right? So that's why we do. Maybe you could just kind of help walk people through what they actually do. So from the moment that they call you, or maybe even from the moment that they get engaged, what can they expect from us?
First, a lot of prayer.
True.
And I always get a kick out of the first initial meeting because it's like the deer in headlights. They have something to say, but they're not sure what it is they want to say. Kind of like that she completes me, or, we know we're supposed to be here, but we're really not sure why. So what are we supposed to do? And that's the first thing I tell them. The first thing you ought to be doing is to pray. But the prayer, multifaceted, more than just guidance, but a prayer of thanksgiving. It's God who put that love in their hearts. And they ought never to lose focus on that great gift that He gave them. Marriage is hard enough as it is. So we want this to be an experience, an immersion, if you will, into preparation that's more than just simply checking a box. And we've talked about that before. I mean, what do you want to do? And that's not an assassination to other type of marriage prep programs that are there with other churches or other parishes offer. They're all noble, and they're all trying to accomplish what we believe is a great journey for them to experience in preparation. But we spend a lot of time together, you and I, sharing those thoughts about what it is, because we look back at the other sacraments and the preparation they had to go through, whether it be for First Communion or confirmation, and a labyrinth of material they had to study and time they had to devote. And then it comes to marriage, and it's like, well, what weekend would you like to have it?
Hey, you love her, she loves you. How hard can it be?
Perfect. Meet with Father, read a couple books, you're done. You're golden. Good luck. Now, I shared with the couples, and I shared with you as well, this interesting statistic that was done, a little bit dated 2009 from the Madison Archdiocese, Madison, Wisconsin. There's this general notion of the fact that statistically, 50% of the marriages in this country fail and end in divorce. And so what they did was to commission a study, and they found that of marriages that took place in the Catholic Church, roughly 38% of those marriages also ended in divorce. Not a resounding, terrific factor to compare, but nevertheless, divorce is real and it happens. But they did a deeper dive into the study. And what was interesting, get beyond getting married in the Catholic Church, attend church regularly. And that doesn't mean Easter, Christmas, and Palm Sunday, okay? That's regularly together. And that's
as in every Sunday.
As in every Sunday,
yeah.
Right? And kind of like those high holy days,
right.
And those other types of things. That factor dropped down to somewhere around 17-18%. Now, attend church, marry in the church, attend church regularly, practice natural family planning, which is a component of preparation we'll talk a little bit about. That factor dropped down somewhere around 5, 6, 7% failure rate. Marry in the church, attend church regularly, practice natural family planning, pray together. Meaningful prayer as a couple, not bless us, O Lord, for these thy gifts we're about to receive from thy bounty. Meaningful couples prayer. The failure rate dropped to 0.06% failure. So I tell couples, you want a formula for a successful marriage? Even before we get started.
Right.
Those 4 things.
Right.
Well, what we try to do in our preparation is to answer those 4 dynamics with the preparation piece that we have. We start first with an intake. They come in and meet with me.
Okay.
And because there's paperwork, and we want them to get off on a good start. Set expectations. They'll first participate in an online inventory called Prepare and Enrich. It's extremely organic. It's not like a Myers-Briggs or an MMPI personality profile.
And it's a spot-on indicator of divorce, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's no question. But it's a great tool that they do separate. Yeah. They get a passcode and they do it online. It takes about 45 minutes to do it. I always gleefully tell them a nice glass of Pinot Grigio or a good Irish whiskey in 45 minutes and you're done. So don't outguess the test. Because it's not a test, it's an inventory. You'll meet with a therapist in our parish, Pam Hayes, 2 to 3 sessions to review those great strengths that are uncovered and some growth opportunities that may exist as a result of that.
Which I would say almost universally when I ask a couple, when we're getting to the conclusion of marriage prep, what were the highlights? That's one of the highlights. Yeah. Just sitting down, what a gift to sit with a marriage counselor before you're married.
Right.
Great gift.
It is. And it's such a great tool as well, because in the organic piece of it, 6 months later they could take it again, it could be profoundly different.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it really is spot on to where the couple is right
that
then
day.
When they take it.
Right.
And that's why I love it. There's some reading material that we require them to read. Mm-hmm. The other part, of course, would be meeting with the celebrant,
right.
Whoever that would be assigned at that time. But the other big component of this is our enrichment piece that we have that's all based on Blessed Pope John Paul's theology of the body called Living in Love. That's a mentor program that we match that engaged couple with a married couple in our parish. And it isn't just someone that we just throw into the mix here. In order to become a certified mentor couple in our parish, they have to go through a weekend retreat. They participate in the program, in the mentoring program. So they've gone through a tremendous amount of background as far as preparing them to work with these engaged couples. That's another highlight because they're meeting in their home.
Right.
So if the baby comes flying by with half a diaper or the
they see married
dog,
life.
Welcome to married life.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
And it's important that they hit that type of immersion because moms and dads are great. Aunts and uncles are great as a model.
Right.
But these are people that have no other emotional skin in the game other than to be there to provide to them a great Catholic mentorship.
And it's one-on-one again, which is, again, one of the reasons why I think they like Pam so much. It's not a group setting, nothing against group settings. We do some dimensions for people who can't take advantage of our mentor program. I know we have a great kind of an all-day workshop that they can go through. That's wonderful. But there's something really unique about, you and your wife sitting down with a couple being able to just walk through some issues and get that one-on-one attention, which is invaluable.
Now, and the other piece that I mentioned about the natural family planning piece, that we're continuing to expand on. We've got some exciting things that are coming soon with regard to that piece of it. But they get natural family planning from me in a separate session,
right?
Which is such an important and dynamic piece of marriage.
So here's the key. So natural family planning, most people are probably going, I don't have a clue what natural family planning is. Because we live in a contraceptive mentality.
Right.
So the pill is commonplace, IUDs, condoms, whatever it might be. The moment that we even start challenging something like that, people begin to think like, ooh, like we're really strange, we're just out there, we're out of touch, we're talking about the rhythm method.
That's right, yeah.
We're not talking about the rhythm method.
Right.
NFB is not the rhythm method.
Yeah.
This is spot on science, medicine, technology, everything to try to help a couple understand in these intimate moments of their life together conjugally, how to treat each other with respect and not to use each other, which is what the culture at large, unfortunately, is doing, right?
Yeah, and the other piece to it too, Father, is it builds on the premise of a barrier-free environment.
Right.
I talk to married couples about this when I'm dealing with counseling even in the parish. We have created, for whatever reason, this sense of selfishness and self-centeredness, as opposed to how Blessed Pope John Paul talks so much about other-centeredness. And how important that is. Well, the only way we can have other-centeredness is without barriers.
Right.
In anything in a relationship. So why would you bring that into your marital bedroom as well? And using contraceptives is nothing more than another barrier, something to deny yourself from your partner.
Right.
So it just completely blends that whole dynamic of openness between one another as a couple, this sense of vulnerability that you need to have in a relationship. Communication and respect. It's interesting too, going back to the communication piece, of those 4 things we talked about, the neat thing that's interwoven between all of them is communication.
Right.
Prayer.
Right.
Love.
So long as the couple's communicating, they're fine. The moment they stop, they're on thin ice. 2
major cornerstones in any relationship, I talk to it about in counseling or within the engaged prep piece of it, communication and conflict resolution. I tell couples, if they can master those 2 things, everything else in between falls into place. Where they're going to have dinner, where the kids are going to go to school, what kind of car we're going to buy. All of that stuff is mastered and controlled by communication and conflict resolution.
So in addition to these kinds of things, and then we got some tie-up things. They'll meet with the music minister, with Matthew, to kind of plan the music, and then we'll do the rehearsal, schedule that, and that really is the marriage prep, isn't it?
Right, because and I'm glad you brought that up, because we try to drive this for them. Gosh knows that they got enough stress as it is from what the dress is going to be or who the caterer is going to be. So we make every attempt on our end from the parish to drive this process for them so that they have a matrix of what they need to follow, and we lay all that out for them. So we try to make it as simple as we possibly can.
I really hope this is helpful for people. I can't reiterate enough how much Father Steve, Father Clement, myself, Steve here, we're trying to do everything we can to help you to thrive. I know you spend an awful lot of time doing marriage counseling. I see or hear from at least 1 couple a day that wants a divorce. This comes from our experience, your experience as a married man, my experience of married life as a priest, which ironically is oftentimes more informed than often what some people who are even in the marriage know.
That's right. That's
if you'll catch that. So I'm not a married man, but my experience of married life is very real because of what people will share with me in counseling or confession. And we just share that with you so that you can be great. That's all we want. That's what God wants. So you were talking earlier about prayer, the importance of prayer. Your marriage, or your marriage to be, if you're engaged, is an arranged marriage.
That's right.
Scripture says what God has joined, man must not divide. So if God has joined you, God's got a plan. And all we're trying to do, we don't want to help you plan the ceremony. You got great people, I'm sure, who can help you with that. We want to help for your life. So we already pray that what we're offering to you, no matter where you might be in the game, whether you're thinking of getting married or you are engaged right now and you're in the process of going through our marriage prep, you'll experience not as burdensome in any way, but you'll understand that we're on your side. We just want you to be great, because that's what God wants for you.
It's a marriage that will never, ever be replicated again for all eternity.
Right.
And we want it to be not ordinary, but extraordinary.
Indeed. Count on our prayers.